Now, a lot of you might have heard about AI or ML, and from those images, it might come to mind some ridiculously advanced computer program that people with PhDs are making over years of time. But oftentimes, it's very easy to make even a simple ML program, as also with Teachable Machine, right? So, what are AI, artificial intelligence, or machine learning? Well, the idea between both of them is that basically they take in data and they can use this data to learn more about the world. So what we're making is a simple classification model. It can decide between two things. We show them pictures of one thing, show them pictures of another class, and the model should be able to determine which one of the class it is. And so to do this, we're using Google's Teachable Machine. Now, say I wanted to keep an animal spotter in my backyard, right? And a lot of different kinds of animals show up in my backyard, but I'm going to use two of them, squirrels and bears, because when you have to react very differently depending on whether there's a squirrel or a bear in your backyard, and it means very different things, so that's probably something a model should be able to classify between, right? So the first thing you should do to make a model is to find a lot of pictures of squirrels and bears to train the model. Training is the first phase of building a model because you want the computer to be able to recognize that squirrels and bears are two different animals and to be able to basically sense the differences between each one. So if I put a bunch of images of squirrels in class 1 and a bunch of images in bears in class 2, and then train the model, and then I give an image to the model should be able to see, is this image more like an image in class 1 or more like an image in class 2? And that way, it should be able to determine whether the image is a squirrel or a bear. So let's get started. So let's say choose images from files. And right now, I've already actually set up squirrels and images of squirrels and bears. So here are my images of squirrels. And here are my images of bears, right? So now that we have two sets of images, I'll name them squirrel and bear, actually. We want the model to be able to classify between these. And Teachable Machine makes this really easy, actually. All you have to do is click Train Your Model, and that'll train a model to be able to notice that both of these sets of images are different, what is squirrels and what is bears. So just wait for it to train, and right. And now, when the model is complete, it'll have a lot of potential applications. For example, the model could be used to basically tell populations of certain animals in the area, or again, let you know if something dangerous is in your backyard. So, but wait. Right. So now you can see that the model has been created. And so let's test it out by putting in a picture of a squirrel or a bear. So I'm going to click Choose Image. And as you can see, I've already chosen a set of test images. So let's put in the first test image, this one. And now note that it's a picture of a squirrel. And as you can see, it has noticed that this is, in fact, a picture of a squirrel. And testing the data like this is really important, right? because you don't want your model to be put out into the world and then suddenly it identifies a squirrel as a bear or a bear as a squirrel. So you want to be able to make sure that your model can work accurately and efficiently. So we now need to test with multiple different ones. So let's choose a different image, say this one. It's another image of a squirrel, and as you can see, it's a squirrel. Next, let's put in one of these images. It's an image of a bear, and as you can see, it recognizes it as a bear. Finally, let's put in one other image. And now you can see that it's a bear, and it can recognize it as bear. And what's great about it is it doesn't check for any exact image. You can put in different pictures of bear, like as I showed, one of the bears was a brown bear and one of the bears was a black bear, but it still noticed that it was a bear. Because again, it doesn't have to check for anything exact. It's learned from these sets of images and has been able to classify between the two. And there you have it. That's how easy it is to make a basic model using machine learning that can classify between two groups. And so now if you wanted to make something bigger, something that could detect wildlife populations, something that could help out with conservation, doing something like that is this easy. Thank you.